In recent weeks, a deeply concerning controversy has emerged, shaking the foundations of national security communications within the upper echelons of the U.S. government. An investigation into a group chat scandal originating during the Trump administration has revealed potential lapses in secure communications protocols that demand immediate scrutiny. Joining this investigation is Ned Price, a veteran national security analyst with a distinguished background including roles as deputy to the UN ambassador, State Department spokesperson, senior advisor to the Secretary of State under President Biden, National Security Council spokesperson, and senior director for strategic communications under President Obama, as well as a senior analyst and spokesman at the CIA. Price's long-standing experience in the realm of national security lends critical weight to his observations regarding the scandal at hand. The core of the controversy centers on an ad hoc discussion conducted through a group chat, a medium that, under normal circumstances, would be considered entirely unsuitable for the exchange of sensitive or classified information. This session, as reported by Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic, was not a casual conversation but rather a convening of what is known as the Principal Committee. This committee typically comprises the foremost officials from every key department and agency that comprise the national security apparatus, including the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the CIA Director, and other top-ranking officials. In every past administration, such critical deliberations have been confined to the secure confines of the White House Situation Room. There, discussions are held in environments meticulously designed to safeguard the secrecy and integrity of the most sensitive information. What has come to light is both staggering and unprecedented. The group chat, which relied on the use of the Signal app, a tool primarily intended for commercial communication, was employed in place of the secure, top-secret channels customarily used in such settings. Signal, though widely adopted in many sectors, is not immune to vulnerabilities. Governments, including those of adversarial nation-states, have invested considerable resources in hacking and monitoring such communication platforms. Thus, when high-level officials, such as the Vice President, the CIA Director, and the Secretary of State, engaged in a discussion on Signal, the potential for intelligence breaches became alarmingly real. Should an intelligence service have gained access to this digital exchange, the resulting information would have represented a veritable goldmine of classified data, offering insights into the inner workings of the nation's security strategies. The conversation's setting and participants emphasize the gravity of the situation. Historically, high-stakes national security discussions are meticulously managed within environments that maintain strict controls over electronic communications. When circumstances require that an official, such as the Secretary of State, be abroad, it is standard procedure to employ secure, temporary measures, such as establishing a top-secret communication tent in a hotel room to ensure continuity of the secure chain of command. The decision to substitute these robust protocols with a commercial messaging application not only deviates from established practice but also introduces significant risks. This deviation raises questions about whether this instance represents an isolated lapse or if it is indicative of a broader, more systemic recklessness in handling classified information within the administration. Equally alarming are the unknown variables that surround this incident. Questions abound regarding whether this group chat was a solitary occurrence or part of a series of similar channels. Could there have been parallel discussions on topics involving Iran, Russia, or China? Each of these nations possesses sophisticated intelligence capabilities, and any leakage from such communications would provide adversaries with a crucial window into U.S. operations. The possibility that these digital corridors might reveal not only what the United States is capable of but also where its vulnerabilities lie, its intelligence gaps, compounds the risk exponentially. Such revelations could inform adversaries on how best to protect their own sensitive information and, more critically, how to exploit the gaps in U.S. intelligence collection. A particularly telling aspect of the scandal involves the case of Steve Witkoff, the special envoy for the Middle East. At the time of the chat session, Witkoff was in Moscow, attending a Kremlin meeting with President Putin. Given his location, it is highly plausible that his electronic communications, including those conducted via Signal, were susceptible to interception. With Russia possessing one of the most advanced technical infrastructures for cyber espionage, it is conceivable that Russian intelligence services could have accessed the contents of his device. Whether through direct physical access or sophisticated technical surveillance, the risk of sensitive information being compromised is undeniable. This incident underscores the vulnerabilities inherent in using non-secure communication platforms in high-stakes environments and raises concerns about whether the information was indeed intercepted before it became public knowledge through media reporting. Beyond the technical vulnerabilities lies the issue of legal and procedural compliance. The use of Signal in this context appears to be an attempt to sidestep established protocols such as the Presidential Records Act, which mandates the preservation of official communications. The deliberate choice of a communication medium that facilitates the automatic deletion of messages raises troubling questions about accountability and transparency. While proponents of this method may argue that the information exchanged was not classified at the time of discussion, there is considerable reason to doubt such claims. When deliberations touch upon military operations, tactics, techniques, and procedures, by definition sensitive and classified, the mere suggestion that the discussions were unclassified does not align with the gravity of the topics involved. It is more plausible that the officials involved are attempting to retroactively declassify the information to mitigate the potential fallout, rather than acknowledging that the discussion should have been conducted through secure channels in the first place. The implications of these actions extend well beyond procedural missteps. There is a significant question of accountability. In cases involving lower-level officials, similar breaches of protocol typically result in disciplinary measures, loss of access to classified materials, or even termination of employment. However, when high-ranking officials are involved, the consequences can be dramatically different due to the interplay of political interests and institutional inertia. The current scenario bears some resemblance to the controversy surrounding Hillary Clinton's email server. Yet, in that instance, it was acknowledged that the conversations were conducted on an unclassified server, and the subsequent investigation, although politically charged, did not result in criminal charges. In contrast, this group chat involved individuals entrusted with the nation's highest security responsibilities, and the potential exposure of classified data through an unsecured channel is an entirely different matter. The reluctance of certain Republican officials, such as Pete Hegseth and Mike Waltz, to launch an investigation or hold hearings further complicates the matter, hinting at a broader reluctance to confront a situation that undermines long-standing principles of operational security. The rhetoric emerging from within the corridors of national security is, in itself, a cause for concern. Many of the officials who have long prided themselves on their commitment to safeguarding classified information are now either downplaying the significance of this breach or offering excuses that border on justifications. The insistence that the information exchanged was not classified, a claim that appears to be a convenient post hoc rationalization, casts a shadow over the integrity of these security protocols. Such a stance not only diminishes the gravity of the potential security lapse but also risks setting a dangerous precedent. If senior officials can overlook the necessity of using secure communication methods without facing serious repercussions, the overall deterrent against complacency in national security matters is significantly weakened. As the investigation unfolds, the broader implications for U.S. national security become increasingly apparent. The potential exposure of classified information not only jeopardizes current operations but also provides foreign adversaries with a roadmap of the nation's vulnerabilities. The intelligence gaps that may be revealed through such exposures are invaluable to those seeking to undermine American security interests. In a world where cyber threats and espionage are constant, the integrity of our secure communications infrastructure is paramount. Any deviation from established practices, especially one that involves the deliberate use of insecure channels, must be met with rigorous scrutiny and, if necessary, accountability. In conclusion, the group chat scandal represents more than just a lapse in judgment. It is a stark reminder of the high stakes involved in national security communications. The decision to use a commercial messaging application in place of a secure, purpose-built system not only endangered sensitive information but also called into question the commitment of high-ranking officials to the rigorous standards that have long been the backbone of U.S. security policy. The potential for adversaries to exploit this vulnerability is significant, and the broader implications for our national reputation and security cannot be overstated. While the current discourse may attempt to minimize the breach by suggesting that no classified information was at risk, the reality remains that the very methods employed in this instance stand in stark opposition to the established protocols that are designed to protect our nation's most sensitive information. The investigation into this matter must therefore be thorough and unyielding. It is imperative that every aspect of the breach, from the technical vulnerabilities exploited to the legal and procedural failures that allowed it to occur, is rigorously examined. Only through such an inquiry can accountability be established and measures put in place to prevent similar incidents in the future. The legacy of this scandal, much like those that have come before it, will ultimately be measured not only by the immediate fallout but by the long-term implications for the integrity of our national security framework. The responsibility to protect sensitive information is not one that can be taken lightly, and the actions of those involved in this scandal must be critically assessed in light of the broader national interest. Ned Price's insights serve as a sobering reminder of the potential consequences when established protocols are ignored. The commitment to secure communications and the rigorous application of the law are not merely bureaucratic formalities, they are essential components of a robust national security strategy. As this investigation continues, the nation must demand accountability from those entrusted with its security and ensure that such breaches are not allowed to undermine the very foundations upon which our national defense is built.